Welcome again, my people. Here we are again, and I got or let's say, I've been looking around and I noticed people have been talking about, or let me bring down some facts to the myth or bring solution to some certain things or some certain cars, especially. And these cars I'm talking about is the Toyota Blade and the Toyota Vanguard. People complain these cars consume a lot in Africa, that these cars use up a lot of fuel. And it's funny because the same engines that are in this car are in other cars and they don't consume that much as much. Now, this is what I want to bring to your understanding. You can have two engines similar in two different cars and they perform differently. Now, the 2AZ engine was primarily designed for fuel economy, in mind. But as time went on, like I just spoke in my earlier video, the American market demands more. The American market demands power, like it demands like agility, if I should say so. Now, the Toyota Vanguard was primarily designed with America in mind. I know a lot of people will say, yeah, blah, 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 we still get these cars from Japan and all, but if you cook food in your house to go give to a stranger, definitely there will still be something in your house. So if you look at the people who buy these cars in Japan, they are not just ordinary people. These cars are built with America in mind. The Toyota Vanguard and the Toyota RAV4 are built on the same platform, with a slight difference for the Vanguard in terms of its width and its length. A Vanguard is slightly wider than the RAV4 and slightly longer than the RAV4, designed to fit the American market. Now, the focus is, why do they consume the way they consume? It's simple. They are tuned different. The Toyota RAV4 with a 2AZ engine will consume relatively about, realistically to what I've experienced, will consume about 6.5 liters for every 100 kilometers. The Vanguard, on the other hand, will consume about 8.5 liters for that same distance. Now, this is the difference. If you put those two cars on a straight line to do a drag race, the Vanguard will win. That's for sure. And also, most people who buy these cars and import these cars to other countries, other African countries to be specific, we first of all put big tires on the car. Tires that are outside the manufacturer's recommendation. It is not uncommon to find Toyota Vanguard with 20-inch rims, and that would definitely affect your fuel mileage, your fuel consumption. It is not also uncommon to find Toyota Blade with the same thing. Now, they always give that idea it has a big engine so you can handle it. Yeah, you can handle it, because in a Blade, it has basically an SUV engine and transmission in that car. So what do you think? You'll handle it. But the performance will not be as compared to the spec sheet. You can do your research on tire sizes and its outcomes on fuel consumption. And to top it off, most of the wheels they put on these cars are not forged aluminum wheels. They are cast and they are heavy. It will cause the car to drag and will cause fuel consumption too. But to solve your problem, or to bring some scientific data into this, these cars have similar engines, similar transmission, similar everything, except for the way they are tuned. Now, if you have a Toyota Vanguard and you have a Toyota RAV4 with the same engine and the same transmission and everything, and you want to verify what I'm telling you, if it's true or not, do this. That is if you can, because you will still need to do some things before doing what I'm what I will advise you to do. Collect the ECU, the computer module, from the engine computer module from the RAV4, the normal RAV4 that you claim is fuel efficient. Put it on the Vanguard. Collect the fuel injectors from the Toyota RAV4 and put it on the Vanguard. You will experience the same fuel economy as you did on the RAV4. That is to tell you the engine mapping on the Vanguard and the Blade are slightly different from the Camrys and the RAV4 and all that, because these cars are designated sport car. The Blade is a sport Corolla. We always get this confused. The Blade is also a Corolla and is a sport version of the Auris. Is a sport version of the Auris. The Blade was never built for economy. It was built for sport from the get-go. That's why the Blade comes primarily with two engines. The lower trims come with a 2AZ engine and the 2AR engines and all that. The top spec of Blade, that they call it the Blade Master G in Australia and all that, it comes with a 2GR engine, the bigger engine. So that will give you some clarification. Same with the Vanguard, same deal. So if you have a Vanguard and if you're a mechanic or if your car is having electrical problem, that gives you a good platform to try what I'm about to tell you. Go grab the fuel injectors from a RAV4 if you have a Vanguard. If you have a Blade, grab fuel injectors from a Camry and replace it with your fuel injectors. Grab the ECU from these cars that you consider low consuming cars and put on your Vanguard or your Blade. To take it a step further, that is, if you can, replace the oxygen sensor, because that's another thing people don't really look at. People don't really look at it in Africa, and it is very important when it comes to fuel economy. Most of the cars that have been able to look under their hoods in Africa are brand new, or let me say foreign use. The first thing most mechanics will tell you is take out the thermostat, because our condition here is far hotter than where these cars come from. It's a lie. It's a very big lie. America during the summer is way hotter than your country in Africa. Dubai, there's no way we can turn around that. The UAE is way hotter, like 2 times hotter in the summer than any African country. Now, if these countries still run with they still run these cars with their thermostat, that means there is something you're doing, there's something we are doing that is out of place. Now, most people don't get to understand exactly what happens in the engine, so I'll give you some statistics to help you. Now, what the thermostat does, this is what the thermostat does. In the morning when you start up your car, and every car owner should know this or must have observed this. When you start up your car in the morning, the car idles and the rev is way above the idle limit, like above around 1.5 or so. After a couple of minutes, the rev goes down, your check engine light goes off, and all of that. Why do you think that is? We have an open loop and we have a closed loop for an engine. Now, starting an engine that is cold, that they call it cold start, the first start in the morning, the engine goes into a closed loop. What's a closed loop? All the sensors, the oxygen sensor, the temperature sensor, and all of that, the ECU commands them to shut down, pour more fuel into the engine so the engine can get warm and get up to temperature. When it is up to temperature, it goes back into in the morning it's an open loop where all these connectors are, where all these sensors are cut off. When it gets warm, it goes back into a closed loop. Now what happens when air gets into your engine? The first thing, your intake air manifold receives that air, calculates the speed of the air and the temperature of that air. It gives that data to the ECU, to the computer. Now the computer will take that information and determines how much fuel to allow get into the cylinder. And when it does that, your O2 sensor, that's the exhaust sensor, the one that is directly behind the engine on the exhaust, what it will do is it will read how much oxygen is coming out from the engine going to the exhaust, and from that information it will tell the computer to either reduce or increase fuel. So during the morning in the open loop, there is a predefined range the computer opens with that starts your vehicle. Now when you take it to your mechanic and your mechanic says the O2 sensor is not even really that important, let's take out the thermostat, let's connect the fan direct so the engine can get cool and stay up to temperature over here. What they're doing, firstly, for those who have aluminum blocks, that is the NZ, the AZ, the TU5 for Peugeot and all of that, and Mercedes and BMW, you're killing your engine because you don't allow those aluminum blocks to get warm enough for the engine to get to its operating temperature so you can get the best out of it. And your computer thinks it is still morning. The engine, it has not collected data that the engine is operating at its best. So it will keep pouring more fuel into the engine until these parameters are met. So you will find yourself with high fuel consumption. So let's stay blessed. Let's correct some certain mistakes, and let's have a good time driving our cars and having a blast with the way we spend our money on this. Have a nice one. We'll talk more.